Hello everybody, good morning. Today is May 27th, 2026, and it's a little bit past 7 o'clock in the morning. And I have an update for you guys regarding the 2026 hurricane season, just how I have talked about in my past videos. Right now, we're in the development of our Super El Nino in the Pacific, which I've mentioned before that it suppresses activity in the Atlantic. Now, this year is obviously going to be very different. I'm not expecting it to completely be a dud season. Limited activity for sure, but I'm not expecting it to be completely dead or anything like that. And especially when you compare with other years, how the sea surface temperature globally is definitely much warmer than, let's say, past El Niños. Perfect example, 2015, 1992, 1997. Again, those are notable El Nino years. But what is the big difference is that the sea surface temperatures are much warmer than those years. But nevertheless, let's take a quick look at a few things. First of all, sea surface temperatures. Let's take a look here. So you need around 26 degrees Celsius to support tropical activity for the most part. You guys can see that once you get into the near Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and west, it is definitely warmer than 26 degrees Celsius, which is conducive to support activity. Now, you need more ingredients than just sea surface temperatures. One of the things that storms are going to have to battle this year, it's going to be, of course, the usual, especially right now for this time of the year, which is the Saharan dust that comes from the Saharan desert in Africa. That could suppress activity or limit basically the amount of activity or organization that basically a low pressure system can start developing. So that's, again, just a couple of main ingredients. Of course, air in general, the MJO, we're going to take a look at it. It has to be favorable as well, so that way the system can be in a favorable environment and conducive for development. So it's not only about sea surface temperatures, and there have been many years recently that sea surface temperatures in the Atlantic have been much more above normal or the average, and still they didn't produce any storms. But let's back out a little bit. Let's take a look at, again, sea surface temperatures, but let's take a look at the El Nino 3.4. And if you guys are seeing here, the higher it goes in the plus, that means the warmer the water temperatures are in the Pacific. And as you guys can see, it is reaching peak. It had a little bit of a dip, but it's starting to curl back up. So it looks like it's back on track, back on schedule to actually continue to warm up. Now let's take a look at, before we go into the latest run of the GFS this morning, but let's take a look at the MJO. Let's see, let me find that here real quick. Okay, here it is. Let's wait for this to load up. And how I explained before to you guys, what you're seeing is a favorable conditions of air sinking and rising air. Okay, the color that you see on the top right now, in the top right of this chart, that indicates not great conditions for the Atlantic or the Western Caribbean, the Gulf, etc. But towards the end of the month, again, conditions appear to be more conducive. As you guys can see, like towards halfway point into the graph, now the green colors are starting to pop up, like over, and even on the Pacific. But it's kind of weird because it's Pacific towards Atlantic, basically. The later that we are in June and beginning of July, well, I would say the end of June actually. So it seems like it got pushed back, because on previous videos it was the beginning of June now, or middle of June, and now seems to be the later weeks of June. But the more green you see, the better the conditions are going to be for us. I was going to say for us in the Atlantic, but not really. For conducive for basically development. That's what I'm trying to say. Now let's take another look at another really cool, that it may look like a chicken scribble to you guys. But basically what this is anywhere you see anywhere you see red, that is again unfavorable conditions. That's basically means there's a lot of wind shear in the environment. Yellows, there is kind of middle chance or medium chance, and then the greens of course are more favorable. Here you guys are seeing Florida, and over Florida and the eastern or Atlantic, basically right coast of east coast of Florida, you can see that it's a little bit more conducive. Now there is a small pocket over here, like from the Yucatan Peninsula and the Gulf, the southern Gulf, where it's okay. It's not a great chance, but it is a little bit more conducive than where you guys see the reds. So meaning that there may be a little bit of a chance for a pocket of where a storm can spin up, and that's what I'm going to show you guys later in a little bit. Basically another forecasting model that GFS put out this morning. It literally updated probably 20 minutes ago. Let's see here. So let me back that out. Let's see from this website, which is a pretty cool website, guys. If you guys have an opportunity here, please check it out. It has a lot of good resources. But let's go and take a look at the latest GFS model forecast for this morning. And I wanted to point this out because, again, like I've said before, this may not play out, okay? But when you start seeing consistency among the models, that's where I've said many times, that is when we need to start paying attention. Now, slowly, more and more models are kind of favoring development, but the GFS has been the bulliest, I would say, out of all the models for probably now a week, kind of trying to develop something. Then for the past few days, it kind of just fell off the chart and it didn't really show anything significant. But nevertheless, it never disappeared as far as the hints of some kind of development. And then you have the Icon model, which is a German model. That one, same thing. But let's take a look at the GFS because it kind of again did something this morning. But if we go in the future, okay, so you guys can see a lot of moisture in the Gulf, and then it kind of goes away, and then you see that on the bottom corner, on top of the Yucatan Peninsula, that's the area that we will have to pay attention to, and then again start spinning up. Let me kind of zoom in here so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Oops. Let's see here. So you guys can see that it starts developing a storm, kind of lopsided. It stalls for a bit. The pressure starts dropping, which is an indication again of intensification. Let me use the arrow. So let's see. You see, starts getting more intense. Then kind of back down to the 970 pressure, and then making landfall on the Florida panhandle again, and it kind of stalls a little bit. This is just one model run. I literally wouldn't pay too much attention to this because I can guarantee you that the next model run in a few hours, it's gonna change again. But like I mentioned before, every time we see some kind of consistency, that's when we need to start paying attention. Now, if we look at older models, like a historically reliable one, like the Euro, it shows a pocket of moisture, kind of heading towards Florida, but that's pretty much it. It doesn't really develop anything. Then let's take a look at the Icon, again, the German model. Same thing, a lot of moisture in the Gulf. And then towards the end, it shows a little bit stronger precipitation between Cuba and Yucatan. And then let's take a look at the Canadian model. Again, Canadian model also shows as very lopsided low pressure system, but more further west, so more like Louisiana. But either way, guys, what I'm trying to point out here is more consistency, something to keep an eye on. but don't believe everything until you see it actually taking place or developing. But appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, share this with your families and friends. And other than that, thank you guys. Have a good day.